Good morning or good afternoon, baseball fans. Big Al here. It's final day of July. It is Monday, July 31st, 2023. And it's about that time where we take a look at the updated Major League Baseball standings and the playoff races in both leagues through Sunday. We will also be taking a look at the Sunday scoreboard throughout Major League Baseball and look ahead to tonight's action. All right, got my Sports Alerts app loading up. So in just a few moments, we can tell you what's happening in baseball today and what happened yesterday. All right, it's up now, so let's go ahead and jump right into this. Starting off with the Sunday recap. And we had a couple, in fact, we had a trio of extra inning games. And this first game kicks us off with the Angels beating the Blue Jays in 10 innings, 3-2. Estevez was the winning pitcher for the Angels. He's now 5-1. The loss for Toronto goes to Garcia, 3-4. The Braves finish a sweep of the Brewers as Atlanta wins 8-6. Yates wins. He's now 5-0 for Atlanta. Payampas takes the loss for Milwaukee. He's 4-2. Iglesias gets his 20th save. The Pirates won the season's, or not the season series, but the weekend series with the Phillies, winning in 10 yesterday, 6-4. Winning pitcher for Pittsburgh is Perdomo, 2-1. Vasquez takes the loss for Philadelphia. He's also 2-1. It was the Mets taking out the Nationals 5-2. Justin Verlander wins his sixth of the year against 5 losses. Williams takes the defeat for Washington. He's 5-6. Rayleigh with his third save. It was the Marlins over the Tigers 8-6. Lopez wins for Miami 5-2. Holton takes the loss for Detroit 0-2. Hernandez Robertson with his 15th save. It was the Twins losing to the Royals 2-1. In fact, they got swept by the Royals in this series. Yarbrough wins the finale for Kansas City. He's now 4-5. Maeda takes the loss for Minnesota 2-6. Hernandez gets his first save for Kansas City. It was the Rays taking down the Astros 8-2. Little takes the win for Tampa Bay. He's 1-2. Thielak takes the loss for Houston. He's 5-6. Guardians shut out the White Sox 5-0. Savali wins for Cleveland. He's 5-2. Kopech takes the loss for Chicago 4-10. In fact, both Chicago teams were shut out on Sunday as the Cubs were blanked by the Cardinals 3-0. Steven Matz wins for St. Louis. He's 2-7. Kyle Hendricks takes the loss for the Cubs. He's 4-5. Romero with his first save. And here's another shutout for you. The Rockies blanked the A's 2-0. Blatch wins for Colorado 1-0. Medina loses for Oakland 3-8. Lawrence would save number 8. In 11, it was the Giants taking out the Red Sox 4-3. Beck wins for San Francisco. He's 2-0. And Leo Vera takes the loss for Boston 1-1. The Reds blanked the Dodgers 9-0 as they win that series in LA. Ashcroft takes the win for Cincinnati. He's 6-7. Grove takes the loss for the Dodgers. He is 2-3. The Mariners blanked the Diamondbacks 4-0. Castillo wins for Seattle 7-7. Merrill Kelly takes the loss for Arizona. He's 9-5. And how about this? The San Diego Padres swept the Texas Rangers this weekend as San Diego wins the finale 5-3. Blake Snell evens his record to 8-8 with a win. Leclerc takes the loss for Texas. He's now 0-2. Josh Hader with his 25th save. And in the Sunday night game, it was the Orioles hammering the Yankees 9-3. Bauman wins for Baltimore. He improves his record to 8-0. Severino takes the loss for the New York Yankees. He is now 2-5. So that's the Sunday schedule. Now let's jump to the standings in Major League Baseball through July 30th, starting off in the American League East, led by the Baltimore Orioles with a record of 64-41, 6-4 record in their last 10 games, including a victory in their most recent game. In second place, you have the Tampa Bay Rays. Same amount of wins, but 3 more losses. They're 64-44. That equals to them being a game and a half behind Baltimore in the East. 4-6 record in their last 10, including a win in their last game. In third place, you have the Toronto Blue Jays at 59-47, 5.5 games out behind the Orioles. 6-4 in their last 10, including a loss in their most recent game. In fourth place are the Boston Red Sox, 56-49, 8 games behind Baltimore, 5-5 in their last 10 games, including 2 straight losses. And in last place, the New York Yankees, 55-50, 9 games behind the Orioles, 5-5 in their last 10, including a loss in their most recent game. The 2-team dogfight atop the American League Central continues as the Minnesota Twins, after getting swept by Kansas City, now sits 54-53. 4-6 in their last 10 games, including 5 straight losses. So they're a bit cold right now. Keeping pace are the second place Cleveland Guardians at 53-53, just a half game out. 6-4 in their last 10, including a win in their most recent game. In third place are the Detroit Tigers, 47-59, 6.5 games behind the Twins, 3-7 in their last 10, including a loss in their most recent game. In fourth place are the Chicago White Sox, who traded away Lance Lynn and Lucas Giolito this week. 43-64, 11 games behind Minnesota, 3-7 in their last 10, including a loss in their most recent game. And in last place in the Central are the Kansas City Royals, 32-75, 22 games behind Minnesota, 4-6 record in their last 10 games, including 3 straight wins, and that was the sweep of the first place Twins. Okay, over in the American League West, the Texas Rangers still leading the way at 60-46, just 3-7 in their last 10 games, including 3 straight losses. Remember, they got swept in San Diego over the weekend. Keeping pace are the second place Houston Astros, the defending World Series champions, 59-47, 1 game behind the Rangers, 6-4 in their last 10 games, including a loss in their most recent game. Third place are the Los Angeles Angels, 55-51, 5 games behind Texas, 7-3 in their last 10, including a win in their most recent game. And not too far behind the Angels in fourth place are the Seattle Mariners at 54-51, 5.5 games behind the Rangers, 7-3 in their last 10, including a win in their most recent game. And sitting in last place in the AL West with baseball's overall worst record, the Oakland Athletics, 30-77, 30.5 games behind Texas. 4-6 in their last 10 games, including a loss in their most recent game. Jumping over to the National League East, the Atlanta Braves, owners of baseball's best record, sit at 67-36, 6-4 in their last 10 games, including 3 straight wins. Moving back into second place are the Miami Marlins, 57-49, 11.5 games behind the Braves, 4-6 in their last 10, including a win in their most recent game. And slipping back to third are the Philadelphia Phillies, 56-49, 12 games behind Atlanta, 4-6 in their last 10, including 2 straight losses. Fourth place are the New York Mets, 50-55, 18 games behind Atlanta, 5-5 in their last 10, including a win in their most recent game. And sitting in last place, the team the Mets just played this weekend, the Washington Nationals, 44-62, 24.5 games behind the Braves, 6-4 in their last 10, including a loss in their most recent game. All right, so we talked about the close battles in the AL Central and the AL West. Let's talk about the fight for supremacy in the NL Central. Still led by the Cincinnati Reds, 58-49, 7-3 in their last 10 games, including a win in their most recent game. Sitting a very close second place is the team that the Reds just can't seem to beat at this point, and that's the Milwaukee Brewers. 57-49, half game behind the Reds, 4-6 in their last 10, including 3 straight losses. Of course, they were swept by the Braves over the weekend. In third place are the Chicago Cubs, 53-52, 4 games behind the Reds, and they are hot. 8-2 in their last 10 games, although they did lose their most recent game. And there's some news about the Cubs. It appears that the team will not trade Cody Bellinger. They were thinking about putting him on the trade block ahead of tomorrow's deadline at 4 p.m. Eastern, but they decided to keep Bellinger. Moving into fourth place are the Pittsburgh Pirates, 47-58, 10 games behind Cincinnati, 3 wins. And back in last place are the St. Louis Cardinals at 47-60, 11 games behind Cincinnati, 3-7 in their last 10, including a win in their most recent game. Sorry about that. I always do that with my hand. Anyway, on to the National League West, where the LA Dodgers are still kings. 59-45, 4-6 in their last 10 games, including a loss in their most recent game. In second place, the San Francisco Giants, 58-48, 2 games behind the Dodgers, 4-6 in their last 10, including 2 straight wins. Third place is the Arizona Diamondbacks at 56-50, 4 games behind LA, 2-8 in their last 10, including a loss in their most recent game. So the Diamondbacks have not been playing well these last few weeks or so. Fourth place are the San Diego Padres, getting close to that 500 mark. They're at 52-54, 8 games behind the Dodgers, 6-4 in their last 10, including 3 straight wins. That was that big sweep at home over Texas this weekend. And sitting in last place, the Colorado Rockies, 41-64, 18.5 games behind the Dodgers, 4-6 in their last 10, including a win in their most recent game. Okay, now let's update the playoff races. As it sits right now, your division leaders by record would be Baltimore at 64-41, leaders of the East. Texas at 60-46, leaders of the West. And Minnesota at 54-53, leaders of the week Central. As for the American League wildcard picture, the Tampa Bay Rays are the top wildcard at 64-44, while both the Houston Astros and Toronto Blue Jays are tied for the last 2 wildcard spots, both at 59-47. The 56-49 Boston Red Sox are just 2.5 games out of that last wild card spot. The New York Yankees at 55-50 are 3.5 games out. Then you've got the Los Angeles Angels at 55-51, 4 games out. The Seattle Mariners at 54-51 are 4.5 games out. The Cleveland Guardians at 53-53, they're 6 games out. And there's a big drop between 8th and 9th. 9th being the Detroit Tigers at 47 and 59, 12 games out of that last wild card spot. Then it's the Chicago White Sox at 43 and 64, 16 and a half games out. Kansas City Royals are 32 and 75, 27 and a half games out. And the Oakland A's bringing up the rear at 30 and 77, 29 and a half games out. Over in the National League, based on records, the Atlanta Braves, Eastern Division leaders at 67 and 36. The Western Division leading Los Angeles Dodgers at 59 and 45. And the Central Division leading Cincinnati Reds at 58 and 49 would be your division leaders through Sunday. Looking at the National League wild card picture, it just continues to change. The San Francisco Giants are now the top wild card in the NL at 58 and 48. And just like in the American League, there's a tie for the last two wild card spots with the Miami Marlins and Milwaukee Brewers, both at 57 and 49. The Philadelphia Phillies not too far out of it, 56 and 49. They're only a half game out of that last wild card spot. The Arizona Diamondbacks, same thing, not too far out of it. They're 56 and 50, only a game out. The Chicago Cubs, 8 and 2 in their last 10 games, are 3.5 games out at 53 and 52. The San Diego Padres, who look to turn things around, they are 52 and 54 and presently 5 games out. Next is the New York Mets, 50 and 55 and 58, 9.5 games out. The St. Louis Cardinals at 47 and 60, 10.5 games out. The Washington Nationals at 44 and 62 and 13 games out. And the Colorado Rockies rounding out the wild card picture at 41 and 64, 15.5 games out. I think at this part of the year, as we're going into August, if you're at least 10 games out of a playoff spot, you have no shot. That's just how I see it. Okay. Now we'll take a look at the Monday schedule in Major League Baseball as we wrap things up here. Okay, we've got 10 games on the schedule tonight, and they're all night games. Starting off with the Philadelphia Phillies, 56 and 49, at the Miami Marlins, 57 and 49. This is pretty much a battle for second place in the runaway that is the National League East. The projected starter for Philadelphia is right-hander Taijuan Walker, 11 and 4 and a 4.06 ERA. His mound opponent is also a right-hander, Edward Cabrera of the Marlins, 5 and 6, 4.74 ERA. First pitch is tonight at 6:40 p.m. Eastern Time from Lone Depot Park in Miami. This game will be televised on NBC Sports Philadelphia and Bally Sports Florida. Okay, the next game on the schedule, or should I say the next two games on the schedule, both start at 7:05 Eastern Time. In the Bronx, the 55 and 50 New York Yankees host the 64 and 44 Tampa Bay Rays. Tyler Glasnow is the starter for Tampa Bay. He's 4 and 3 with a 3.36 ERA. His mound opponent is Domingo Germán, right-hander for the New York Yankees. Of course, he threw that perfect game back on July 24th. Germán is 5 and 7 with a 4.77 ERA. First pitch is 7:05 Eastern from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. and this game will be regionally televised on Bally Sports Sun, the Yes Network, and aired in some parts of the country on the MLB Network, unless it's the only game that they're airing at that time. The other game beginning at 7:05 Eastern Time is the 57-49 Milwaukee Brewers in the nation's capital tonight to face the 44-62 Washington Nationals. Corbin Burns is the projected starter for Milwaukee. The right-hander is 9-6 with a 3.46 ERA. His mound opponent is also a righty, Jake Irvin of Washington, 3-5 and a 4.96 ERA. First pitch is 7:05 Eastern from Nationals Park in D.C., and this game will be televised by Bally Sports Wisconsin and Masson 2. A couple minutes later, at 7:07 Eastern Time, and this is a big battle in the American League East, as the 64-41 Baltimore Orioles make the trek north of the border to face the 59-47 Toronto Blue Jays. Kyle Gibson is the projected starter for Baltimore. He's a right-hander, 9-6 record, 4.68 ERA. His mound opponent will be Toronto's Chris Bassett, right-hander, 10-5 record, 3.91 ERA. First pitch will be 7:07 p.m. Eastern from the Rogers Center in Toronto. The game will be televised in the States on Masson and in Canada on Rogers Sportsnet in English and on TVA in French. A few minutes after that, at 7:20 p.m. Eastern Time, the 55-51 Los Angeles Angels battled the best team in baseball, the 67-36 Atlanta Braves. Griffin Canning is the projected starter for the Halos. He's a right-hander with a 6-4 record and a 4.46 ERA. He'll be opposed by another right-hander, Atlanta's Charlie Morton, 10-8 and a 3.57 ERA. First pitch is at 7:20 Eastern Time from Truist Park in Atlanta, and this game will be televised on Bally Sports West and Bally Sports South. Okay, now we're into the 8 o'clock hour. The next game up at 8:05 Eastern Time is the 58-49 Cincinnati Reds facing off with the hard-charging Chicago Cubs at 53-52. Left-hander Andrew Abbott is the projected starter for Cincinnati, 6-2 record and a very nice 1.90 ERA. His mound opponent will be Chicago right-hander Marcus Stroman, 10-7, 3.51 ERA. First pitch is at 8:05 p.m. Eastern from Wrigley Field in Chicago, and this game will be televised by Bally Sports Ohio and the Marquee Sports Network. Five minutes after that, it's the 53-53 Cleveland Guardians looking to keep pace with the Twins in the AL Central as they visit the Space City tonight to face the defending world champions, the Houston Astros, at 59-47. Newly acquired Noah Syndergaard will make his Guardians debut tonight, 1-4 record and a 7.16 ERA. He's a right-hander, so is his mound opponent, J.P. France of Houston, 6-3 and a 2.87 ERA. First pitch is 8:10 p.m. Eastern from Minute Maid Park in Houston, and this game will be televised on Bally Sports Great Lakes and AT&T Sportsnet Houston. Okay. The next game up on the schedule is the 52-54 San Diego Padres trying to get themselves back in the National League wildcard picture as they make the trek to the Mile High City to face the 41-64 Colorado Rockies. All right, Seth Lugo is the projected starter tonight for San Diego. The right-hander is 4-5 with a 3.62 ERA. His bound opponent is Colorado southpaw Austin Gomber, 8-8 and a 5.83 ERA. First pitch is at 8:40 Eastern Time from Coors Field in Denver, and this game will be broadcast on the San Diego Padres television network and on AT&T Sportsnet Rocky Mountain. And then an hour after that, at 9:40 p.m. Eastern Time, the 56-49 Boston Red Sox continue their West Coast trip as they fly into Seattle to face the 54-51 Seattle Mariners. Nick Pivetta is the projected starter for the Bull Sox. The right-hander is 7-5 with a 4.11 ERA. His bound opponent is fellow right-hander George Kirby of the Mariners. 9-8 record, 3.49 ERA. First pitch is 9:40 p.m. Eastern Time from T-Mobile Park in Seattle. This game will be televised on NESN and on Root Sports Northwest. And the final game of the night gets underway 5 minutes later at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Time as the 56-50 and free-falling Arizona Diamondbacks look to get back into the win column against the 58-48 San Francisco Giants. Ryan Nelson is the projected starter for Arizona. He's a right-hander, 6-5 record, 4.97 ERA. His mound opponent will be Alex Cobb of the Giants. He's also a right-hander, 6-3 with a 2.97 ERA. First pitch is at 9:45 Eastern Time from Oracle Park in San Francisco, and this game will be broadcast on the Arizona Diamondbacks television network and on NBC Sports Bay Area. Okay, folks, that is it. Your updated standings and playoff races through Sunday. We also recapped yesterday's scores and took a look at the 10 games on the Major League schedule on this Monday. All right, we'll be doing this every week, checking the MLB standings. So join me next Monday for another MLB standings and playoff picture check. In the meantime, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Ring the bell and get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching and enjoy the baseball action this week and today. Peace out.